31% rate increase was what was filed.
Yes.
The Public Service Commission did not get a chance to reach a decision on that because Kentucky Power withdrew that. So I think using that in this slide presentation and comparing it to the 8% is a little bit misleading. And I'm not being critical of you, but they filed that. But would you not agree that the Commission did not get a chance to make a decision on that 31%? So now we need to be careful about putting that 31% up on the board before the Commission got a chance to make a decision on the findings of that rate filing before it was withdrawn. So I just wanted to clarify that the Commission did not reach any information or any findings on that 31% rate increase. Now I'm going to make comments after a while, and I'm going to address that a little bit, because I happen to believe that in the long run, that the ratepayers of Eastern Kentucky are going to end up paying as much in rate increases by transferring power in here from the Mitchell Power Plant to the people of Eastern Kentucky than they would if we go ahead and put the scrubbers on. That's my opinion. So to use that 31% tonight is a little bit... And look, I'm not being critical of you. I'm not.
I understand.
But there was never a finding by the Public Service Commission on that. So, you know, comparing 8% to 31, what the
Commission did not make a finding on the 31%.
Okay.
That was matter was pending before the Commission when the application was withdrawn. The Commission has not made a finding on the 8% either, for that matter. That will come up in a future rate case, and the Commission will dispose of it in an appropriate fashion at that point. So that 8% is simply what the company has estimated, just like the 31% is what the company estimated. So in that sense, it's apples to apples. But yes, your point is well taken that we did not make a final determination on that.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Andy.
I'm going to ask you to clarify to start with.
I'll do my best.
If I understood things right on WTCR radio, they made the comment that American Power already owns the Mitchell plant. Is that correct?
Yes, the parent company does own it.
Okay. So basically what we're talking about with this purchase is a shuffle of paperwork, because they own Big Sandy too.
Yes,
They're asking us to pay for something they already own, is already connected to the grid, and they're asking us to pay with our rate increase $500 and some million for something they already own.
How long has it been on the market, Terry?
Well,
Ask them how long it's been on the market.
It doesn't matter. No, they own both plants already. They're not buying nothing. The parent company already owns both power plants. They're both connected into the grid. They're not going to have to string the first wire to take the power from Mitchell and bring it down here.
Why don't we shut down Mitchell instead of AEP here?
Well, that's something I heard from AEP, from a retired AEP official here the other day. The Big Sandy plant was a sacrificial lamb. The EPA was getting after American Power, wanting them to cut their emissions. AEP agreed to shut down this plant so that the EPA would leave the other plants alone.
Other than answering your question about the ownership of both those power plants, I don't know what else to tell you other than the fact that those comments would be better directed to the Commission than they are to me. More than welcome
Can
to
I
do
ask
so.
you a question here, sir, in front of these people? What is your name?
My name is Ron Ross. I'm communications manager. I'm not involved in all the regulatory filing, but I would be happy to answer what I can.
Let me ask you a question then. When the money was spent to upgrade the Mitchell plant, did not the Ohio Public Service Commission grant a rate increase to already pay for that? When the Ohio was a regulated utility company, before they went deregulated, AEP sought and obtained an increase in the rates of the Ohio customers to pay for the scrubbers that was put on the Mitchell plant, correct?
We're trying to get transferred at fair market value the assets, half of the assets of the Mitchell plant to Kentucky Power.
So you don't know that, or you just can't answer?
I can't. I don't know the answer to it. I don't work for AEP Ohio, the current owners of the plant. American Electric Power doesn't. Kentucky Power owns the Big Sandy plant. AEP Ohio owns the Mitchell plant.
Yes, and they're wholly owned subsidiaries of AEP.
American Electric Power owns both companies. However,
Wholly owned subsidiaries. You have no other shareholders in those companies other than the umbrella company of AEP. Wholly owned.
AEP Ohio owns the Mitchell plant. True, American Electric Power owns AEP Ohio.
Wholly owned.
And 100%. I will stipulate 100% of half. Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
And Ohio Power's ratepayers have paid for that over time. So that's an asset on the books of the Ohio Power.
And it's already been paid for.
Okay.
By the ratepayers.
If you were going to sell a car that you paid for, would you not look for fair market value for that too? That's basically what this is. We would be seeking to buy from them half of the Mitchell assets and transfer them to us.
And charge the taxpayers and the ratepayers of Kentucky for scrubbers that's already been paid for.
The Kentucky ratepayers have not paid for that power plant. Ohio ratepayers.
Oh, it's already been paid for. So you want an 8% increase to get paid again, another 8%.
If in fact,
Well, I'm not news. Full, Roger. I don't.
Kentucky Power ratepayers have not paid for that. Like I buying a car from you and you paid for that car.
The Ohio ratepayers already paid for it. Your cost to do this has already been paid. Zero.
Kentucky payers have not. Okay. If we were
Why would we pay for it? It's Ohio.
it's owned by American Electric Power, doesn't factor.
Okay, but it was paid for. A rate increase was granted by the Ohio Public Service Commission.
I don't know how, I don't know, since I'm not with Ohio Power, I don't know what the amortization is, how that thing is.
Okay, I think the people here seem.
We have to consider applications as they come in. And they're entitled, Kentucky Power, like anybody else who files an application or a complaint or any other proceeding before the Public Service Commission, is entitled to their due process, and they're going to get it. Yes, sir.
This is Mr. Robinson. Can you tell me, sir, what the dollar amount of a typical residential bill is monthly?
Close to $100 a month for the average residential customer.
Well, at 8%,
Where at? Where does that exist? Mine runs anywhere from 200 to 300 and sometimes over a month.
Actually, the current, as of December, the average is $94.
What was it? We missed the number.
$94 a month is the current average residential.
Nobody pays $100.
Those bank policies are not taxable. So they're
I have several Robinson in regard to the Kentucky Power claim of a $6 increase a month. Bill predicated on an 8% increase. 8% times 94 does not equal 6, sir.
It's a rounded amount. It would be about $100 a month if this were.
Again, the math doesn't equate to what you say. That's disingenuous. And like one of the little ladies said, I look at power bills every day of the week, all year long, and I have not seen a $100 a month power bill. And I don't know when.
Not since 1990.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Robertson, how come, I've always wanted to know this answer, how come that anytime we do any kind of additions to the plant, for the scrubbers, for instance, the ratepayers always has to foot the bill, but yet when you all make $1 billion worth of profit, we don't share any of the profits?
I'm sorry, what was the question again? I think I might be.
They come to us for a rate increase to put scrubbers on, but yet if they make $1 billion through the year, we don't get any of the profit. They used our money to make that profit.
The Kentucky statute, known as the Environmental Surcharge Mechanism statute, states that utilities that burn coal in the Commonwealth of Kentucky that are required to expend funds in order to comply with environmental regulations, whether those regulations are local, state, or federal, are entitled to full cost recovery from the ratepayers of those environmental compliance costs with a return on equity for their shareholders. That is in the statutes. So that is why those environmental costs are passed directly on to customers. That's the environmental surcharge statute. Passed in 1994 following the or 1993, I'm sorry, following the Clean Air Act amendments of 1990.
Well, once the rate increase is done and the retrofit is done, they never take.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understand what you mean.
If a utility is found at fault and they have windfall profits that consumers have paid for, is there any mechanism for stepping in and saying, look, you need to refund that? Or if you don't, you will pay $100,000 a day until you do. Does that exist?
The Commission's rate-making authority essentially allows that. So if the Commission were to find that a utility was over-earning, the Commission has the authority to go in and decrease their rates to make up for whatever it is they over-earned, yes. And the Attorney General, if the Attorney General believes that a utility is over-earning, the Attorney General has the power to file an action with the Commission to ask the Commission to review the rates to determine whether that utility is making excess profits.
Have the Commission or the Attorney General ever done that?
I believe the last time involved one of our gas utilities, and that was probably about 10 or 11 years ago, and ultimately that resulted in a rate case, and I can't remember what the details of the outcome were, but there was a rate case as a result of that.
Okay. I'm a dog lover, so I got another question. In the contracting world, the general practice is initial bid is lowball, so as to secure the contract. And the money is made in the annual reviews and the cost overruns and the renegotiations. Is there a watchdog for that?
Yeah, I mean, if the utility, if the Commission authorizes the utility to build something, those costs eventually are submitted for recovery as part of a rate case. And in the process of reviewing that rate proceeding, the Commission goes through and examines all of those costs to determine whether they were reasonably incurred. So if a utility incurs, if something, price of materials goes up in the course of construction, that would be considered probably, and I can't speak in every case, but that would be considered a reasonable increase in the cost of whatever the initial estimate for the project was. If
26 active positions. And I just wanted to say tonight that I think that you really should take into consideration that I've lived in this community for 25 years. I've raised 2 kids here. I feel like we've been very successful in taking our healthcare system to a level that you don't see in a small rural area as this. And I think it could be very widespread if this plant closes, and I think it could be detrimental to where we're at with our healthcare system right now. If any of us experienced a heart attack right now, you're 2 minutes away, and we have a system set up where that it could be in jeopardy if we lose this amount of revenue, this amount of jobs in this area. So I just urge you to please consider that in your decision.
Thank you, Mr.